All right, hello everyone. It is Friday. Happy Friday. All right, awesome. My phone tells me I'm live. Perfect. Excellent. So does my computer. How's everyone doing on this fine Friday? It's a little bit overcast here in Calgary right now. We've had a couple of really beautiful days lately, which has been nice. I'll just give it a moment to see who might be able to join us on a Friday morning. Yeah, different from our usual Thursday afternoon. My son graduated yesterday from grade 12. So my last high schooler, well, he's not officially done till finals are over. And much to his dismay, he must write diplomas. They were canceled. Diploma exams were canceled in the first semester because we had a teacher strike. But no teacher strike second semester, so they've got to get those diplomas in. All right. So I don't know if you guys have been following our social media. Hopefully you've seen the poll. Sorry, that word just escaped me for a moment. We're running a poll asking what you guys would like to see as far as timing for Facebook Lives. So do you prefer weekday mornings, weekday afternoons, evenings, weekends? So we're running that poll. So if you see that, if you want to just vote, give us your feedback. We would love to hear what you guys think. Awesome. I'm just going to take a sip of my coffee. And maybe I'll start with, I'm going to show you a project I've been working on that I just completed. Maybe I'll show you that before we dive into the demo. Just give a moment here see if anyone else is able to join us. But I just completed this project, and this is the Craft Treat double folio scrapbook template. Okay, so this is one of these kits. It gives you all the pieces. I'll just show you the back here. It comes with all the pieces die cut for you, and then the measurements to cut out your papers to put this little album together. So this is actually a 2-pack. So it comes with a craft and a black album. So I know I've shown you guys these before, but I thought I'd just quickly give you a little flip through of this completed album before we get started on the demo. Hello to everyone who's popped in. Hi, Jenny. Oh, Jenny, maybe you can tell me, because it came with I know that I don't think you've put this together, but it had 4 sets of magnets, and I've only used 3. So I'm not sure where you're supposed to put. Oh, I guess the other magnets would have to be for the other pack. Duh. All right. So I'll just give you a quick flip through of this album. So we've got, I've used let me just grab it here. 49 and Market from the Garden collection. And so we just open up our front cover, and then we flip that open. So I added some little pieces to the pocket pages, and then I've embellished with some of the chipboard and the die cuts. Okay, and this came together, I think it took me a couple of days, mostly because I added some inking. Then we've got... Yeah, I figured it out now. It's because there's 2 albums in this package, so of course you need 2 sets of magnets. All right, so the left side and the right side are the same. So we've got this fun little pocket pages here, pocket tags here. And then, I added a little bit of a die cut there, and now I'm gonna have trouble getting that out because it got caught. No worries. I'll pull out this other one here. I'll have to deal with that guy later. See, I added a little piece here. And then I just kind of left it a little bit, I just kind of glued it down the right side here so you can slide a photo in. Okay. Then we've got in our center portion these really cool waterfalls. So I've added a little die cut here. I just left enough space here so that I could slide a photo underneath. Not entirely sure what I'm going to put on this yet, but lots of places you can add, you know, journaling under here, a photo under here as well, and journaling on this side. So lots of little spots to put stuff. Okay, and then on the right side, so a really fun project. Comes together very quickly. All right, and then you can add photos and journaling under here as well. Okay, and so that is and this I have to, sometimes you just kind of have to wiggle it to get it underneath this bottom pocket here. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, it was fun to put together. So since this is a 2-pack, I'm going to put together the craft one as well. Maybe, with a different paper line. Good thinking, Rosie. There, so super fun. Awesome. So now that we've got a few people joining, let's get started with the demo. So I'm going to be playing with the Tailored Expressions Postmarked-Springtime. And then this is all the bits and pieces that go together. So we've got a set of foilet papers, okay? And so it's got 4 each of 3 different 6x6 pre-printed designs. So this is all printed on your toner foil, and then you're going to run this through your laminating machine with your laminating machine, or if you still have a Mink, that type of hot foil machine. Okay, and then you also want to make sure you're using the right foil for that. So you're going to want, I have a couple rolls here behind me. So you're going to want to make sure you're using either, if you've got any, Mink foil left in your stash, or any of these deco foil. So the type of foil that works with toner, that's the foil that you need to use on these sheets. So your glimmer machine foil is not going to work, because that's a different type of foil that uses heat and pressure, and this uses toner and heat to transfer the foil. Okay, so we've got the foilet papers, then we've got let me show this in order, it would make more sense. Then we've got the 6x6 layering stencils. So that's 4 stencils, and we're going to use these to add some inking to our foiled sheet. Okay, so I kind of pre-foiled these guys, and so we're going to be playing with this one today, this design, and then I'll show you the other design that I kind of previewed on the Instagram post. But super fun. So our layering stencils are going to fill in all the rest of the pieces on this paper. Okay, so there's our layering stencil, and then we will finish that off with our Postmarked-Springtime 3D embossing folder. And I think, in my opinion, this is where the magic really happens with these images. Yeah, they are super cute. Super cute. And then I've got a couple of samples to share with you guys after. So this one, now I pre-foiled this as well, and I just didn't peel this off. I thought I'd peel it off on camera because that's usually when it's fun, much more fun. You can see that. So this is one of the 3 designs. So your first design, you can see here it adds the foiling is on, you know, these particular areas. Okay, our second foil design does more of the inside pieces, and then we'll add a little more detail with our stencil with this one. And then the third design in the package is the outside, basically your outside frames. So the envelopes, the postage stamp. So I'll be adding the, the embossing folder is awesome. I'll be adding the details to this guy off camera later. Awesome. So let's get started. You can see that I've done a few samples already. There's stencil's got a little bit of ink on them. All right. So we're going to start with stencil 1-1. And you'll notice here, okay, they've given us a little, and it foiled as well, these little squares on our stencil. Okay, so if you are just using the stencil on its own, and I'll show you a sample, because you can just use the stencil on its own to color in these pieces. You could just draw that square in with a pencil, and then every time you line up your layer, you're going to line up those squares together. That's when you know you've got perfect alignment. So I'm just going to grab a little bit of low-tack tape. See what I've got in my stash here. And I'm going to need my tweezers to get that. All right. So we're going to use a little bit of tape here just to keep that in place. All right, and then I've just gone through my stash and kind of dug out a bunch of different colors of ink. No rhyme or reason really, other than I kind of like the colors and they seem to go together fairly well. All right. Okay. And I want to make sure that this holds in place well. When I was kind of making my samples, I did find that if I wasn't careful, then sometimes it shifted while I was inking. Okay, so let's start. Now this is a great set to take out your smaller blending brushes. So I've got the Spellbinders ones here, and I've got some Altenew detail blending brushes as well. And I'm going to grab my Ocean Waves Altenew ink. So just a blue. We're going to start with the blue, and I'm going to do the, and you'll see why this is really, it's really great to use your detail, smaller blending tools for these, just because of the smaller areas that we're working in. Where did I put, oh, well, doesn't matter. All right. So I'm going to start with kind of the background of our little bunny ears here. And I'm going to make that this blue. And we're just going to add ink to these areas. Now you could go through and just do like this whole layer the same color. If you want. Or kind of pick out different colors for the different areas. I'm going to do the different colors for the different areas. All right, so and there's another bunny ear down here. Awesome, so we've had some beautiful weather here. I actually had to fire up the AC last night. I know I'm one of those crazy people who has AC, but I literally cannot sleep without it. our upstairs gets quite hot. So I did have a much better sleep last night. Okay, so there's our blues. Now I'm gonna make all my flowers the same color. So let's see, I pulled out some, we'll do some Simon Hurley Prom Queen. All right, and I think this one will be okay. So we'll add that to all the flowers. And the nice thing with these areas that are foiled will resist the color that we're inking over top with. So I'll just wipe that off with a cloth after. Do I want anything else pink? Sure, we'll do this guy on here. Why not? Oh, you did last fall, Stacy? Yeah, it is fantastic. My one of my nieces and nephew, they just bought a new place with AC, but my nephew is kind of bound and determined he's not going to use the AC. But I think that might just take one hot spell and they might break down and use it. I used to tease my sister because she would say, "Oh, you don't really need AC." And I said, "Oh, I think of you every time I'm feeling just a little bit chilled in the middle of the night from the AC and I have to pull the sheet up over my shoulder during a heat wave." She didn't think that was very funny, but I thought it was funny. Okay, now I need to do a little pink on this guy too. Let's do that down here as well. That's the challenge sometimes, trying to make sure you get all the areas on here. And okay, so I think the next layer I'm going to make the same color. So let's do let's do this samba color. Why not? Okay, so I'm going to grab one of my, where's my spell binders? I kind of have, there they are. I literally have now 2 sets of these spell binders, detail brushes. That's one thing I feel like you can't have too much of, are these little detail brushes. I got a little heavy-handed on that guy. So we're going to make everything on this layer this samba color, just for the purposes of a little bit more speed. All right. Ink, 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 ink. Okay. All right. So let me close that. And then I'll just peel off the tape here, the low tack tape. This is purple tape. You can use yellow spellbinders tape. Yeah, I've seen those waffle flower brushes. They look kind of cool. Stacy, the craft room isn't stifling. Nice. I know, that's hard. When you're in the craft room, and I'm just going to quickly give this a little spray with some alcohol, rubbing alcohol. All right. So there's our layer number 1. Yeah, these detail brushes are great. I really, really like them. Okay. And so now we've got layer number 2. And so I'm going to line that up the same way. Line up my squares. And sometimes you got to give them just a little bit of a shift. There we go. So I'm going to have to adjust my tape here. Make sure it's not covering an area I'm going to be inking. Okay. And we will move this one to this side. There we go. All right. I think we've got that. Okay. So I'm going to do the insides of the bunny ears, and we'll use a little bit of, this is Hero Arts Taffy ink. And again, use whatever you have on hand. I've been eyeing up the 49 in Market inks. Kind of because they'll work with all their paper lines, but man, I got so many inks. I don't think I can talk myself into it. And believe me, I usually have no trouble talking myself into crafty purchases. But I don't think I can do that. We're getting the inside of our bunny ears. All right. And then I'm going to do, let's do this next layer. I'm feeling like I want to do it all the same color just for the interest of speed. So let's make it all yellow. And I might need a couple of Post-it notes here. I should have done it the other way around if I was going to do it all yellow. So I'm just going to cover up. Oh, that's the bunny's nose. We'll give him a little pink nose. Okay, almost forgot. And for that, I'm just kind of patting lightly there. Bunny's nose. All right. So it would be fun to play with this too, just making each layer the same color, like each layer of stencil, kind of going with a, or maybe a color family, making it monochromatic. That would be very interesting. Okay, I think I need to use a little bit of a bigger blender brush if I'm going to do this all the same color, this layer. Okay, but first I'm just going to pop that over the bunny ears, or the bunny's nose. There we go. I love these these products that all work together. I think they're so awesome. All right. And the nice thing about them too is that, you know, if you didn't want to invest in all of them, you can just get you work with the 3D embossing folder. You can work with just the stencil on its own and the embossing folder. Okay, and I'm just doing these little envelopes under the bunny's nose. Okay. You can see when I'm inking, sometimes it shifts a little bit. So I'm just making sure that that stays lined up. All right. So anyone got any big creative projects on the go? I've got a few things I want to accomplish before we hit summertime. I don't know if I'll have time though. Before Christmas. Oh yes, Stacy. Very true. Very, very true. Before Christmas in July is upon us. I kind of like being able to get started earlier with the Christmas crafting. Okay, so I'm going to have to change my plans here on this envelope because I don't want yellow next to yellow. I want to make it a little bit different. Maybe we'll make that blue. All right. So I'm holding this down a little bit because I'm using these smaller brushes. I find that sometimes they'll almost kind of push their way underneath the stencil if I don't hold it down. Or you could use spray adhesive if you wanted to. That would work as well. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure, okay, we can make that yellow. We'll make that yellow. Feels like it's going to be a lot of yellow, but on this layer, but it will work. Okay. I feel like ever so subtly my stencil shifts a little bit. Okay. And this would go faster with a bigger blending tool, but there are a few areas I want to keep the yellow out of, so. But it's going to be nice and bright and springtimey. Hello everyone who's just popped in. If I haven't said hello to you. Welcome here. And we are playing with the Postmarked-Springtime from Tailored Expressions. Okay, so I'm going to just swap this out. I'm going to go back to blue for a couple of these spots. Whoops, I missed a yellow down here. This guy. So just because, so you could make each of these a different color if you wanted to. It just depends how long you want to spend on each particular area. All right. So I don't know why, but for some reason lately, Facebook does not want to let me see your comments on my computer. So they pop up on my phone here, but I don't always see it right away if it doesn't catch my attention. So I don't know. It's a strange Facebook thing. All right, let's see. It's kind of like how, yeah, I actually can't even get my phone to go into landscape mode on Facebook Lives. I'm actually using my son's old phone because for whatever reason, it likes that model. So it'll go into landscape mode on that model, but not on my newer one. The joys of technology. Peak planting season. Yeah. To working on your mini albums. I never have to worry about planting season because I hate gardening. In fact, I'm a terrible plant parent as well. However, that being said, I own exactly 3 houseplants. One of them being an orchid, which is kind of crazy. Because I always thought they're very hard to take care of. However, I am pleased to announce that one bloom is coming in on my orchid. Don't ask me how, don't ask me what I've done. We'll see if it gets any more than that, but I'm quite impressed with that. So for now, I'll hang on to it. But Stacy and I chatted about my orchid a while back. So you might still inherit it, Stacy. We'll see. Okay. So I'm going to just moving my tape here. Okay. So now I've got these little areas like with leaves and stems. So I'm going to grab this Mardi Gras ink, just kind of a green. And yeah, I'm going to have to do a little bit of creative inking here. Might need to get the Post-it notes out. Okay, so let's do our greens first. So our leaves here. I just re-inked this ink pad, so it's quite juicy. So we'll do all our little leaves and stems. Oh, I got a little wild down here. That's okay. All right. Yeah, I did see that advertised, Stacy, the orchid show. Okay, so I've got all my leaves and stems. I'm going to use this green as well, just behind here. This is actually like if it was the inside of the envelope with our bunnies. We'll make that green as well. Make sure, 2 more spots right here, and there's a stem I missed, and then I think that's part of a bird. We can make the tail feathers green on this bird. Why not? We'll do the same here. And do I want to make my butterfly green? No, we're not going to make him green. Let's put that back in, and before I forget, I'm going to do all the little postage layers here. That's the edges back to our yellow, so that they're all the same. So the frame, so our little postage frame is all the same color. All right. Yeah, it's interesting. My dad was the gardener in our household. Like, he loved growing his strawberries and tomatoes. And my mother enjoyed flowers. And I think because they really enjoyed it, they just enjoyed doing the work themselves. They didn't even, like, we were never, as kids, we never were asked to do any weeding or anything like that. They they enjoyed doing all of that on their own. So I guess they never really passed on a love of gardening to my sister, my brother, or I. So I had to marry a landscaper so that somebody could take care of the yard, because I knew I wasn't going to do it. All right, getting our frames in. So this is one of those stencils, I think, or products that if I was going to make some cards, I'd kind of do a whole bunch at once. Well, I've got all the inks out and all the brushes out, especially with the foiling. If you're going to foil, I kind of like to work that way, where I do all the foiling at the same time. Well, I've got the hot foil machine out, or the laminator. Okay, so we are going to, now that I can see my little envelopes, I'm gonna add some blue to these other areas. So back to my ocean waves. So we're getting there. This is the fun part too, picking out, you know, all sorts of different colors. It would be interesting to maybe do pastes, use pastes with this. But then I wouldn't be trying to, if you're using paste, I wouldn't try to do different colors. You'd use just the same layer of paste. Make that little birdie blue. All right. Okay, and then I know that I think my butterfly and these larger birds, I'm going to use a red for those. Okay, and so when you're working with these foil-it papers, you're really just using 3 of the layering stencils, because one of the layers has been foiled. So you don't have to do that layer. Okay, I'm going to make this guy a different color. I'm going to use the Mardi Gras. I'll just use what's left on my brush. There we go. And now I want a pop of red. So I'm going to grab this Rockin' Red from Catherine Pooler. And I'm just going to use the brush I used for the Samba. I'm just going to use that for the Rockin' Red. It's close enough to the same color family. All right, we're going to add that. And then this bird is going to be, oh, did you see that kind of shifted or popped a bit? Hopefully I didn't get ink underneath it. I may have. No worries. Okay. So let us remove this and see what we have. Okay. Okay. And I know you're wondering, why, Rosie, why are you using tweezers to do that? It's because these pretty nails are very impractical. Awesome. Look at how vibrant that is. Love that. Okay, let me just quickly clean my stencil. And then let's bring in the embossing folder. Not sure where that green thread came from. All right. So that is our last layer. Oh wait, except I feel like I'm missing something. The inside of the butterfly. I'm lying when I say you're not going to use all the layers. There's a few places where you will use all the stencils. There we go. I was way ahead of myself, but there's a few spots here. Like for example, you can see here, these are the foiled areas. So obviously we don't have to ink over the foiled areas, but we just have to complete our inking on all the frames. Okay, and then our butterfly body. Okay, perfect. And now I need a fresh piece of tape because I crumpled those all up thinking I was finished. Not quite yet, Rosie. All right, so layer number 4. Okay. So layer number 4, I'm going to... Hi, Barb. Okay, I'm going to start with just adding my stem here. Let's work with what I can see right away. So there's our green and our green. Okay, and another one right here. Okay, and then, so here's where I'm going to pick and choose what I'm going to put where to kind of fill in and fill in my colors. Where's that? There it is. All right, I'm going to make this floral red as well. And this guy red. Okay, and we're going to make this guy red too. Okay, and just making sure I've got all my red pieces. All right. Okay, I'm going to bring back my green brush and we'll do this other part of the envelope here green. And again, you could kind of choose the same colors and you could make your envelope all the same color just to make it go faster. But I like playing around with it. Okay. So, oh, I'm going to do the sky green down here as well. All right. So now we'll go back and finish our postage frames with the yellow. Oh, actually, this is the bottom part in the envelope. I'll make that green. I'm not sure that it really matters because I'm going to trim this. This panel will end up being trimmed down. Okay. And before I forget, I'm going to fill this in with a little blue. And a little, there we go, little blue. And that is all those places. Awesome. Okay, so I think it'd be kind of fun too I was kind of thinking about this yesterday. Like, I love this embossing folder, and you'll kind of see it in action here when we get there. But I'm thinking it'd be kind of fun to figure out how to, emboss some 6x6 panels and then incorporate that onto a scrapbook page. So, especially if you're not a card maker, but you really enjoy you like the embossing folder, I'm going to play around with that because I think that would be fun. Or you could, cut it into a tag. You could cut a tag shape. use the embossing folder and then emboss that, and then kind of layer a title over top of your tag shape. That would be kind of cool too. So I'm going to play around with that. I've got some awesome 49 in Market to make some layouts with, the Glimmer and Glee that I used for last week's demo. Okay, oh, I missed a spot there. I have to go back with, I think I made that green, right? Okay, where's my green? Might have enough on here to fill that in. Oh, need a little more. So I'm going to change the Facebook Live, the day and date next week. I'm not going to be here Thursday. I'm actually going houseboating. I've never been houseboating before, so hopefully I like it. If not, I'm going to be... if not, I'll have to... I don't know what I'll do if I don't like it. I mean, as long as it's not like stormy or something. Okay, so I'm just using a little bit of black here for the eyeballs. And because it's such a small area, I'm just kind of pouncing with this brush. Get a little bit in there, and then I'm going to do the body of the butterfly. I'll probably just do the tips of the wings just because it's easier. Ooh, I think I went off and got a little bit of black on my frame. Whoopsies. Okay, and then this guy. All right. Just about forgot the bunny's eyeballs here. And let me see if there's any other. We've got a little birdie here. We're going to highlight his eye. There must be a second one here somewhere. There it is. All right. I think we've got it all. If not, we'll just pretend that we did. Okay. So I'll peel those off. All right, and there is our stenciled panel. Okay, but we're not finished with it yet. You can see I got a little bit of ink under there. It went underneath my stencil, but that's okay. Once we run it through the embossing folder, I don't think you're really gonna see it. Okay. So let's bring in the embossing folder. Now I'm going to actually give this a little bit of a trim, because what I'm going to do is line it up. Let me just try it first, see if I need to. So you're just going to essentially kind of shift that around a little bit until you'll be able to see when it lines up. Okay. Now, the first one I did not mist the back of it, but I am going to mist the back of this. Just with a little bit, a couple of sprays with my Spellbinders mist tool, just to make sure it doesn't crack. I might get a little bit of cracking still, but hopefully not too much. So as I line that up, and you'll just have to kind of shift it a little. And like I said, you'll see, I think that looks pretty good. Okay, so here's where the magic happens. Just shift my inks out of the way. Let me grab my Platinum 6. Okay, And so with this 3D embossing folder, all you need is your base plate, so your A, with a Platinum 6, and your D adapter plate. Okay, just those two. That's it. I'm not sure what the sandwich is for a big shot, but I think you can just Google that. All right. So let's roll that through. There we go. I know that sounds terrible, but it's okay. Move that out of the way. All right, and look at that depth that we go from that flat image. Isn't that beautiful? Love, 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 love. So you can just see how that really pops everything. So a great, great suite of products to use. So I'll show you now a couple of the samples I did yesterday so you can see how I finished this off. So this is a 6x6 panel, so you can trim that right off. I suppose you could use it on a 6x6 card. I'm not a big fan of square cards. I know it's weird. It's just a me thing, but anywho. But love that. So let me bring in, I'll show you how I finished off this panel. With these other two samples. All right. So I just want to show you. So this is this card here, the Best Wishes card. I stenciled, so it's not foiled. I've just stenciled and then run it through the embossing folder. And then I added a sentiment. Where did that sentiment go? It's a layered, here it is. Layered Best Wishes from Spellbinders. Okay, so I die cut that from the black and then the shadow from vellum so that you don't lose any of that beautiful detail. Yeah, you like traditional card sizes too, Jenny? Yeah, I do too as well. I do too as well. So I will finish off this panel off camera just because it's going to take a little bit. And then here's another sample I did. And again, same thing. Actually, this one I embossed first and then I put the stencils over top. So it's not perfect. You can see where the ink kind of bled under my stencil a little bit. So it's probably better to do the stenciling on its own first, just because with the raised areas, it seems like it would be easier, but it was more likely that the stencil was going to kind of shift a little bit on me. But here I've basically made this like a spotlight, the spotlight technique by die cutting. Do you remember those nesting dies we looked at last week? This is another shape in that those nesting die sets. And again, like the price point on this nesting die is ridiculously good, $21. So I die cut the inner piece, then the next size up out of black, and then I just layered that over top of the area that I die cut it out of. And again, we've got Spellbinders. Where did that die go? Oh, there it is. The layered Happy Birthday die for the sentiment, and done. Super easy. As one of my kids asked me for a birthday card to give to their friend the other day, and I'm like, was looking through my stash, and I'm like, why do I have so many cards that say everything except happy birthday? So at least Best Wishes is close enough to happy birthday, but these are all I'm going to turn all of these into birthday cards. Start stocking up the stash. Yeah, so there you have it, everyone. We've got let me find my packaging here. Oh, here we go. That is a look at the Tailored Expressions. I almost called it Spellbinders. Postmarked-Springtime. So we've got the foilet sheets, and there are, I should just tell you that, 4 each of 3. So there's 12 sheets in the package. So that's a really good value on that, actually, $15.50. The 3D embossing folder, and then the layering stencils. All those 3 together, and these are some of the beautiful, beautiful end results. So I'm going to pull these 2 into cards off camera and pop them onto the Scrapshots Facebook page. And then this video will be uploaded as well. I hope to get it done by the end of the weekend. And yeah, just keep watching our socials to see exactly which day I'm going to do the Facebook Live for next week, because it won't be on Thursday because I'm away on Thursday. And reminder, if you're in the Calgary area, pop-up shop is happening next Friday from 4, let me just double check my time. I wrote it down to make sure I got it right. 4 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at the Scenic Acres Community Center. And that information, the address, is on our Facebook page as well. And if you're in the Calgary area, yeah, we really hope to see you guys out there. It'd be awesome to say hello, and you get to see some of these beautiful projects in person. Hi, Lorraine. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, catch it on replay. Yeah, yes, it's a beautiful set of products. It's one of those products that I think that if you're just kind of scrolling through the store, you'd probably be like, oh, that's, that's kind of cute, and just kind of skip past it. But seeing them in action, and yeah, I wish you could just see how beautiful the foil is and the depth of the embossing. The camera doesn't really do it justice, but yeah, seeing it in action, it's like, oh yeah, that is gorgeous. Awesome. So everyone, have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for hanging out with me. And yeah, look forward to hanging out again next week. Have a great, great weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye.